Good morning. It is game day, and this is the pregame show. It's brought to you by Academy Sports and Outdoors. I'm joined by the legendary recruiting analyst, Justin Wells. Say hi, Justin.
Hello.
And our main man, Cord, fellow analyst, fellow Nike hat gang,
Nike hat gang.
There's the legend. Yeah, we need to get sponsor on this stuff, but there's the legend right there. That's the ghost of Texas, baby. Give that man a follow. He is a great follow on Twitter, and he's an even better person in real life.
Stop.
He's also struggling right now with Whataburger addiction. It strikes many Texans. Cord is in the grips.
Where are you at, Cord?
I'm in New Braunfels, Texas, way too close to a Whataburger, less than a mile down the road.
A Lent thing or something?
Oh, no. Just trying to gain back some weight, to be honest with you. Struggling to do so. And I was like, you know what? We're going to commit to the Whataburger bit. And I always kind of choose a fast food of choice during football season. So Whataburger, it's definitely got a grip on me for sure. We're losing the battle.
I got you.
Well, as someone who's excellent at gaining weight, dude, I can tell you the Whataburger is a strong choice. Hey, pair it with some Taco Bell. And hey, man, don't be lazy. It's got to be lunch and dinner. All right, dinner's not enough.
High cholesterol.
Right?
Go ahead, tell them, Connor.
Yeah, exactly. There's a strategy. I've been bulking for 32 years. Y'all wait till I cut this. I'm gonna be so shredded, dude.
You're like Mr. Atkins.
Yeah, exactly, dude. All right. Good morning, everybody. Alex, Big Jake, MJF. Good morning, guys. Got a fun game for you, and of course, this is the pregame show where we just kind of hang out and chat about what we want to see. Sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't. Y'all need to go over to Inside Texas, though. That's for sure. You can join for just $1, guys. Recruiting news, team news, analysis, all of that. We would love to see you over there. All right, fellas. Let's start with the first news of the day. Arch Manning, concussion last Saturday evening. Went through this week. Cleared to play. We should see him play, and we got to see what that means, right? So here's my thing, right? If you're not taking all the reps during the week, that can be a problem. Also, Arch has weird games anyways, so even without a concussion, remove that. We have to see that consistency, but we are likely going to see Arch Manning at quarterback versus Vanderbilt, trying to secure our shot at the playoffs. This is an important game. I think that's a factor, right? I don't know if everyone comes back versus Sam Houston State in this situation, but that's going to be the first point of emphasis. What do y'all think, fellas?
For me, I'm a little concerned about, what Arch looks like early morning start time after not getting a ton of reps. I think, rumor is what threw the ball yesterday, Justin, is what you might have said for the first time. What does it look like early for Texas? Because I think a fast start to this game, obviously boosts chances a lot. You have a defense that's been on the field a lot the last couple of weeks, so it'd be nice to put together a couple drives early in this game. Not to say that he won't go out, that he won't go out there and perform well, but definitely curious as to how it all comes together.
Yep.
The thing with Arch and me, Cord nailed it. It's that slow start, I think. What we saw in Starkville was the first glimpse of, hey, that first drive. Of course, it was a nice big play to Ryan Wingo to get you down there, but whatever it takes is whatever it takes. At the same time, I'm a little worried. I'm a little compassionate. I can't help it. And I know that Arch is coming off a concussion, and I know he has a style of play that is not necessarily conducive to the recovery of that. Now, granted, if he's cleared, he's got a doctor's okay. Steve Sarkisian, Cooper, and Ellen Manning are not putting their son out on the field unless he has gone through all the bells and whistles of the medical field, and he's been checked off and he's good to go. And we know that he took reps on Friday in practice. At the same time, this kid has taken David Carr, 2001 Houston Texans level hits this season. And at the same time, Matthew Caldwell's strengths really, really match up well with what Vanderbilt doesn't do well, especially in that intermediate game. And so I'm hoping Arch is okay and rip roaring, because I want to see the Arch that cuts loose. That's the one that I think the team feeds off of. He's got an energy that when things start to go a little bit well, it can balloon, it can snowball. We saw that in the fourth quarter and in overtime in Starkville. We'd seen it a few other times throughout the season where when Sark kind of gets his giddy up and gets a little bit of that cockiness and swagger and playground, that's the team kind of rallies around that. They draw energy from that. I'll tell you this: if you can get some heavy doses of Trey Wisner today to take some of that pressure off of Arch to where they don't have to call as many, say, design runs, or he doesn't have to cut loose on a 3rd and 6 just to move the chains. I think that's kind of what would be the best plan there. But I'm just thinking about Arch long term. Again, he's not playing in this game unless every doctor on the planet has checked him off and marked him for good to go. I just think this is Vanderbilt's going to bring Hat, a very disciplined team, and so this is going to be interesting.
Yeah, let's see what old Vandy's sack rate is.
Whatever it is, it's going to increase.
So they're already 38th. They're already 38th in the country at sacks.
Woo!
So that with Texas offensive line, they're going to have a 2nd in the country sack rate. And they pull the same kind of simulated blitzes. They put a lot of guys on the line. We covered that in film study. So Vanderbilt's going to – every team comes after Arch no matter what, even if that's not their style. But Vandy does have that style already. Yeah. So, man, I'm sitting in there.
The intermediate game's there, Connor. It is there for the taking.
Well, dude, if I'm Flood, I'm telling my guys like we're about to storm Normandy. Like, you guys have to protect him. Like, I know you can't. This game, you should have an outlier. So that's the big thing.
It's an underrated defensive line. I was just going to say, I think it's, above average in the SEC, definitely in the top half, which for Vanderbilt's pretty. I mean, they've got some motor. I mean, with a 16-team conference, it's a little easier to say that now. But, yeah, I mean, I really like their defensive line. I definitely think they're a little bit underrated. So, yeah, agreed that they'll probably, end up giving us a few fits.
So my first key is Arch consistency in the short game, and this is without any medical issue. We've seen Arch have great games and then bad games. Great games, bad games, great game. We haven't seen
every other week. It's the odd even week system.
Yeah. So that's why we need to see it in the short game. And this includes intermediate too, like as Justin has astutely pointed out. But hey, man, make this game as easy as you can on yourself. And you have to be efficient because Vanderbilt is going to constrict possessions, right? You might legit have 9 possessions. And if that means if you can't have success rate and drive the field when you do have the ball, you're going to be in trouble. Now, if you're hitting deep, that's great, but that increases the variability that you'll also stall out, right? So you still need that consistency to move the ball to get you into spots to hit your explosives, like I'm saying here in the second point. Hit the explosives because Vanderbilt is 87th in the country on passing explosivity on defense. So you can get explosives. It can be deep, or it can be yak. So Ryan Wingo hit over the middle. Yak. Yeah, hit them in the middle of the field where they're a little soft and then beat a guy. Yeah. But you still have to be consistent to get to that point. So that's what I need to see from the passing offense. And I just need to see Arch consistency game to game. Now, progress not linear. It's not always going to go straight up, but it still needs to go up and right overall. And Arch is like staying on a line of like up and down. So go up consistently. That would be a big thing. I don't know how that looks if you're not taking all your reps at practice, if you had to deal with concussion recovery, but still, that's something that I would like to see. And then limit relative sacks. I can't say limit sacks because this team doesn't do that. I mean, relative sacks that what they normally get, keep it there or maybe one less. So that's what I mean. And then just protect Arch, man. You can't have him bouncing his head off the ground. Any of that kind of stuff. He needs to stay as upright as he absolutely can. And if you protect better, he's less likely to leave the pocket and he's less likely to take a hit. Because what do you guys think, Phil? You think Sark is running designed runs this week? Maybe, but I would think you would try to limit the run.
What was it? Was it Oklahoma or Kentucky where he waited basically till the middle of the third quarter? I think it was OU to call a design run. And which was, a little bit off the beaten path a little bit, but it worked out well. But yeah. I think you're going to see him spread it out. I think you're going to see more of what you saw in the fourth quarter and overtime now. And this is where I think A.J. Milwee is key because him going up to the box now, he's seeing it a little bit differently. And if you don't understand, in the second half, Milwee was very influential on play calls in that late third quarter and all through the fourth quarter. They're seeing something there in the spread concepts where they can get the ball out because of that O-line, and it worked. Now, Mississippi State had taken pressure off. They had given Brandon Baker one-on-ones. They had, played not a prevent, but semi in a sense. So Texas has to, look at that. But I love what you have here. Handle the trash talk. Is Vanderbilt known for talking trash? We're talking about an academic institution.
They talk so much trash. And
really?
Yes, dude. And they did it last year too. So if you'll notice, it's particularly on defense, even though Pavia is known for it on offense. Watch those in the all 22. It's hilarious. The DBs say something to the receiver after every play. Yep. And it's they just and the quarterback can completely miss. The DB had nothing to do with it. And the DB they'll just come up and they'll whisper something in the wide receiver's ears. I don't think it's positive. And so they're just, after every little thing, they're just they say something, right? And when you have our inexperienced receivers, you can do two things. You can allow that to frustrate you and try to play harder, and sometimes that can backfire, right? Or you can clam up and let them get in your head, and then you don't try as hard. So that's my big thing, is that they talk a lot of trash, and they talk a lot of trash specifically in the secondary. There's a bunch of people. Yes. Yeah, dude. And they would do it last year, and they would
they're throwing out algorithms in literature.
They just what's your GPA?
Degree plans. That's so funny. Hey, our boy Quentin, he's throwing a super chat in here. I don't mean to cut you off, Connor. Pavia is mid, brother. You better give some Hail Marys there. There is nothing mid about the Aztec Warrior. Okay.
Quentin,
this guy, he may not have a future at quarterback in the NFL. He's going to be in the WWE. Let me tell you that. He is going to be Lucero Pavia, and he is going to have the mask. And because you see him walking out now, and he's got that thing, that ski mask with. He's planning this. He's already doing these commercials, these ramp-ups, Ric Flair style. I'm telling you, Pavia may not have a future in the NFL, but he does have a future in pro wrestling. There is nothing mid about the Aztec Warrior.
So Quentin does this every week. He picks whoever the star player is on the team, and then he just says they suck. And I think he truly does believe it, but it is a theme that it's all.
I believe it for $10. I'll believe anything.
Yeah, they had a whole ass YouTube doc talking shit. Yeah, they did. Vanderbilt they talk a ton of trash, and
I have no idea.
Yeah, they talk a ton, man, and it's probably the most I've seen.
They've all taken on that Diego mindset, baby. They all just feed off of that energy. That's what it seems. I mean, he's definitely taken over. He is the cog that runs that thing. So, definitely don't think he's mid either. But I do think Texas matches up with him pretty dang well, baby.
You're right. PK style is really good when it comes to a dual threat. What can burn Texas is the pocket guys. Your Michael Penix, your Julian Sands, those types. Those can get you. The ones that are dual threats, that kind of it kind of flows to what I think the strength of PK's defense is.
Well, and also Pavia, I get when people are like Pavia is mid. If you were to ask Pavia to do a ton of traditional quarterback stuff, I mean, he doesn't have a special arm. So I get when people are talking traits, but you cannot separate Pavia from this scheme. The scheme is Pavia. Pavia is the scheme. And so it's that's how he activates. I get it. If you guys are saying hey, go put him on any other team, tell him to be a drop back passer, I think he would be mid in that situation. But with how they use him, I don't think there's a player that's more important to a program right now psychologically than Pavia. That's why I worry about, Florida looking at Clark Lee, because if I'm an AD, I need to see Clark Lee, and I love Clark Lee, but I need to see him without Pavia.
That's a great question, because you know why? You hear his name linked to LSU, and I'm thinking, but does this style work in Baton Rouge? Can he do this post Pavia? Connor, that's an excellent point.
Yeah, and I like Clark Lee, but in their talking trash thing, they have a call and response that he does to get the players hype, and it's to the edge, and then the players have to say, and not over it. To the edge and not over it. So he wants them to be as close to that line, and you'll see they're really bad in penalties because they cross the line a lot. That's the only part of this team that's not a disciplined team. But, yeah, their whole personality is this kind of reckless, trying to get you out of character, trying to get the better athlete to start acting weird.
That's like saying row the boat but don't drown.
Well, but he knows that they keep going over the edge and it's hurting the team,
At some point, somebody's not going to come up for air.
But they have to, and this, no offense to Vanderbilt, I love the program right now, to be honest, but when they don't have the type of athletes that a Texas, a Georgia, and A&M, they have to create some other type of edge to close that gap even more so. And I definitely agree on the point with Lee and what does it look like without Diego, because it's not like they blow you away with explosives. They got a couple of guys that can create those, but I mean, they're going to be very efficient. They're going to be good on third downs. They're going to take their 3, 4, 5-yard runs. And it's just not super easy to replicate when you have a guy as special as Diego and as much of a leader as Diego is, to go out there and just trot out another quarterback and think, you're going to get the exact same results wherever he may, ultimately land.
Yeah, and their explosivity is going to come from the run game. That's where they get it. Like they
Cedric
hit Cedric Alexander and Pavia. They both can go for big ones. And they had damn 14 personnel on the field on one of Pavia's long runs that we did on film study. It was either Alexander
getting shades of Jim Harbaugh.
Well, it's because they're forcing everyone into the box, and if one person misses their gap, you can go for 80, because everyone's collapsing the line and stuff like that. So they do that. What's really special about the team is that they're 133rd in the country for plays per game, but they're 9th in points per game. That level of efficiency is pretty wild. And so this is an offense that executes, and they're 2nd in the country in points per drive. So they have limited drives, but they score at an elite rate. So their execution and scheme is really remarkable, what they're able to do there, and especially making up for the athlete differential. Flan, I hope it's Flan. I take it that way instead of Flan. Hope Wingo finds the end zone today. I'm too lazy to do a deep dive, but how many times has he been stopped inside the 5 after a huge gain? So many. Yeah, it drives me nuts when Texas hits their explosives and goes down at the 5 because we're so bad in the red zone. I'm like,
exactly,
had to score there, But yeah, you want to score on these. Ideally, we don't want to get into situations where we have to execute like red zone. So that's a big factor. But hopefully we can see more of that Wingo thing. People are like, it's simple, just give Wingo the ball for Yak. Well, it's like, well, the defense can solve for that. Like if they know that you're doing that, then they'll just divert more to the perimeter. But that's going to be a big factor. But hopefully you see that's what Wingo is right now. I know what we want him to be, but what he is right now is a Yak monster. So get him the ball and let him do what he can do. And if he's wide open, he'll catch it. If the corner's running with him, he's not going to catch it. So get him in advantageous situations where he's open short or open deep, and he'll get the job done for you. But he's not going to climb the ladder and go monster.
Not yet. He still has to get there. He's got a junior season to get that.
Yeah.
But like Justin said early on, I think that there's money to be made in that intermediate and the short, quick game passing, today. And so Wingo's got to be a part of that. You got to find a way to get him the ball in space and let that athlete take over against that Vandy secondary. So for me, that's what I'm needing to see today. Is you're going to see a lot of three high safety looks. And so how do we scheme Wingo up underneath? Are we relying on Mosley more as a number 1 and then taking Wingo's opportunities when it makes sense and when we kind of can catch them? Because I do think there's some yards to be gained in the screen game for sure. But really curious to see. I hope you're right, Justin. I do need us to come out with the spread attack mindset, the way we looked in that second half last week, and then you have the chess match of, okay, well, they're going to try to take the first read away. Like you said, they want to make us pause. They want to make us freeze. And so what does Arch do when it comes to option number 2, option number 3? Because there's been times, where he's struggled with progressions or he's struggled when he's having to process one side of the field and he goes to the other. So that's going to be a fun chess match. Can Vandy consistently take away our first reads and, if there's room underneath?
I'll tell you what, if he can hit some of these crossers, that'd be lovely.
That'd be quite nice. The thing that's weird about Arch is his intermediate success comes from rollouts.
Yes, he's more accurate on the run. It makes no sense.
He from the pocket, the intermediate doesn't exist. But as soon as he rolls right, he can find it, And so it's that's the big thing too. But also, I don't want Arch. Well, I feel conflicted. In a perfect world, I would not want Arch leaving the pocket. With our offensive line, you got to go, man. And so that's what we got to see in the intermediate game. Those are the keys for the offense. Now, as far as Texas's rushing offense is not tied to the defense they play, meaning if they're good or if they're bad, it doesn't determine how Texas is going to be. So even though this is a pretty good, let's look at their rushing defense for our boys, our Commodores, which I had to look up, by the way. I was like, is a Commodore a bird? It's not. They're in the Navy. The anchor thing.
Isn't it like a captain?
Yeah, it's like a Navy. It can be, it can be someone that took a station at the Navy. So the anchor down thing, it's all adding up, It's all adding up. I'm very educated on that. I was like, that's got to be like a hell of a bird. All right, guys. Their rushing defense is pretty good. So their yards per rush is 35th. So theoretically, the Texans struggle running here, but I don't care. Our offense is not tied to reality. It can transcend the physical universe sometimes. But yeah, if you can get Trey going, man, to help out Arch, I think that's going to be absolutely crucial.
I mean, I want to see Trey the way Trey finished that game last week. His patience was really good. Vision was really good, but we're getting him the ball in ways that we're not typically getting him the ball. I don't think we're going to line up and run over Vanderbilt, but can we use, the screen game? Can we be a little bit creative when maybe in the RPO world? And maybe that's enough to hold that Vanderbilt front seven back a little bit, because you're going to see a lot of those same simulated pressures like Vandy. And also, I don't think they respect our run game enough to where they're going to play their front versus ours. They probably don't commit too many numbers too many times, and they just say, hey, we dare you to go the length of the field and beat us over and over again. We'll see.
Yeah. Before we keep going, though, guys, we got something for you here from our main men at Academy. Academy Sports and Outdoors proudly honors our brave military and first responders for everything you do to protect our nation and serve our local communities. We appreciate your unmatched dedication and countless sacrifices. And from October 19th through November 11th, Academy is giving you a salute with 10% off your sports and outdoors purchases at your local Academy store and online at academy.com/discount. Exclusions do apply.
Connor.
Yes, sir.
Joey Austin dressed up as Pavia's mom's boyfriend for Halloween. Here's the $1 million question. Do you know who Diego Pavia's boyfriend is? Cord, don't you do it.
No, the only joke I see is the Theo Vaughn stuff, but I have no idea.
That's not a joke.
That's real life, baby.
Oh, it's actually real? I thought that was
You're
just
in
a
love.
joke the whole time.
It's like a fairy tale.
I saw a clip where Theo Vaughn was at his house, and I was like, for me, a Pavia thinking it was just like a running joke, I'd be like, all right, Theo, like the very funny joke, but get out of my house, type of thing. But
yeah,
that's been
it's a fun little thing. I'm hoping we see Theo Vaughn in Austin today. He's had a lot of fun there. I hope Shane Gillis comes through and hangs out with him as well. It's been a fun little back and forth between him and Diego. Diego's mom is beautiful, and so but seeing that clip of them two hanging out, that just made my day, because I think Theo is
Gillis has been
good. You know what? We got some mid viewers today. I'll tell you that.
Imagine the conversations in that household, though, with Diego and Theo. I mean, I'm sure it's pretty wild at times.
There's no way. Well,
a little bit of bantering, just a tiny bit.
Gillis has been a supporter, right? He was at one of our fundraisers, right? Shane Gillis.
Shane's huge. He's more of a he's a
Notre Dame guy,
but he loves Austin. He loves the comedy scene here, and of course he does the Texas Longhorn Bud Light commercials.
Yeah, but he was at one of our events where they throw a concert and stuff like that too. So I think he's been. I don't know how you do that as a Notre Dame supporter.
Well, with all the comedy stores, I think that grow in Austin, a lot of those guys are around. Every other weekend.
Yeah. All right. Let's talk about the defense. So we've talked a lot about Arch, and that's really important, but we got to stop Pavia. We got to stop this offense because if they're able to get it down to 9 possessions, as they say in the business, and score on those, also they can't get up. Like theoretically, Mississippi State, you can get up, but you don't want to play that game. Ideally, you try to 3 and out them. So these are analysis that I normally make fun of because they're intangible things, and I like to talk about what's on the field. But when you play a team like this that is so scheme dependent, so culture dependent, you get some of these kind of analysis points. Disciplined but decisive. So what does that mean? Disciplined is they're going to try. They know you have the athlete advantage. They're going to misdirect. They're going to move you around. You just have to know what your job is, and Paul's done a good job of handling this. Look, if I'm backside contain, I don't care what 7 misdirections they do. I'm backside contain. So you need to focus on what your job is because they're trying to get you out of position. Don't let them play that game. But on the flip side, whenever you're disciplined, players can hear it as hesitant, right? That they're waiting and they'll freeze your athletes. So you need to do your job. But once you recognize it, you need to trust your instincts and show why you're an athlete at Texas. So don't let them psychologically freeze you up with all this stuff. Make the play once you have it, because we do have the athlete advantage. What do y'all think?
No, I definitely agree with you there. We had the athlete advantage. It just comes down to being disciplined. And then, when, like you're saying,
that's a good point. That's a good point.
Yeah, good point. Being disciplined, containing, keeping the proper leverage, taking the proper angles. Vanderbilt wants to land a lot of jabs, and then eventually, not necessarily the knockout punch that some can provide, but even a 25, 30-yard run for Vanderbilt, that's a really big play. And so you saw last week with Missouri, MK Young got free on an 80-yard play just from, them out leveraging and the Missouri being a little undisciplined there. That's what they want to do with Texas. They want a defense that's played a ton of snaps over the last 2 weeks. They want to keep them on the field, and they want to have a 7, 8, 9-minute drive, 14, 15 plays, and try to challenge that will of the Texas defense. And so you got to win first and second downs. I'll see that on, a little further down, but that's really going to be a big part of this game because, like y'all talked about a little bit earlier, you asked Diego Pavia to be your average standard down pocket passing quarterback. That offense looks a whole lot different. So 3rd and longs are going to be huge. So win the early downs, which obviously includes both of these first two things with, being disciplined to help yourself set yourselves up for success to stop the run.
I've got a little halftime adjustment for you, Connor, real quick. We got JL asking, is Michael Taft playing today? We have updated that at InsideTexas.com. We posted a story. Go over there and see it. It'll tell you all you need to know. StockX, is Arch playing? We also have a story on that at InsideTexas.com. Come check that out. We've got the latest update from last night. And then I just got a note from a source on the ground right now.
A ground source.
He's a coaching buddy of mine that is in DKR right now. He said Diego Pavia's family is all walking around in prison suits, talking mad to everybody, and it's awesome. that right there is information you don't find anywhere else other than InsideTexas.com. Come see us. Let us earn your business. There's never a better time. Back to the third quarter. Back to the second half.
Yeah. Slowing the run is a little tricky because if you watch our defensive film study, you can slow the run, but their big runs are like fairly untouched. So it's just through an open gap. So that's what we mean by disciplined. And also, like, athletes have this tendency of like flying down and decimating the second level. One of my favorite clinics I've ever watched was Kirby Smart, and it helped me to think about this. They don't match their linebackers. Their second levels do not come up to the offensive line because he says that you've just decimated your second level. Everyone's first level, and if you miss, they're going to go for 80. And Alabama got that wrong a few times. They would fly up to the guard or whatever. The linebacker would fly up to the guard would beat him, and that gap would be open for 80. So you do need to not just try to say, I'm stronger than you, because you're not stronger than a guard. So that's where you have to be sound. And then, like I said, they'll bring you into 14 personnel so that everyone is in the box. All they have to do is find one open hole, and they're out of there. So most of their runs are not like some incredible highlight, I'm going to juke, hurdle, backflip, and truck a guy. Most of their runs are just, it's wide open, and they can go into a sprinter stance. So that's the big thing too. So you can slow the run all game, but it doesn't matter if you give up 2 80-yarders, because that's really what they're looking for in the run game. And they're a really good rushing offense. That's the core of their offense. The passing game is not the core, even though you hear a lot about Pavia.
I love that they challenged like the width of the field. They can run on the interior, they can run off the edge, they can run literally sideline to sideline with jet sweeps, and they get everybody involved. And now, like, unlike last year, obviously Cedric Alexander runs really damn hard, but adding MK Young and having a guy that can take the top off the defense, if you get out leveraged or if you're undisciplined, take a bad angle or two, or just simply miss a tackle, that makes Vandy's offense a lot more difficult to defend than it was a year ago.
So the big thing is our defense is weakest in the perimeter run. We play a lot of cover three match, man-y stuff, right?
Yep.
So we have this thing where we get caught inside a lot, looking, and we'll rush inside. And then you saw it versus Florida. We've been talking about it on defensive film study since the beginning of the season. both of the former defensive players keyed into that like game one. That's a problem for us. And so that's the big thing. They'll test you on the perimeter, and they have gotten big runs on the perimeter. So Vandy's an astute scheme. So I expect to see some perimeter runs because they need to check us there because we are weak there. We get caught looking inside, and they'll likely try to punish that. Win money downs. So this is an interesting matchup for their offense and our defense. So a money down in the run game. Let me pull this up for you. Their rushing power success rate, 3rd and short, 4th and short, gotta have it. They're 11th in the country. They're really good at winning those at 11th. But guess what? The flip side is Texas is number 1 in the country on defense at that. We've seen that with Kentucky, right? We've seen that with everybody. So this is a match of good on good. Can that number 1 beat that number 11? Because that way you do get Vandy off the field. And so to me, winning those money downs are going to be absolutely crucial for us. Let me see where they're at on third. They're 8th in the country on third down. We're 16th on defense. So they're technically better there. But if Texas can get those wins and kick them off the field, and then in turn our offense is able to stay on the field, you can start to toy with the heart of this scheme.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Like, you got to put them in 3rd and longs because that's where they're less successful than they are in that 3rd and shorts, 3rd and mediums. Because again, they can play from the width of the field. They're really, really good. And then Diego's been really, really good at just finding and taking the open guy to move the chains. They're not going to sit there and try to take deep shots. Like some of these offenses, like Mike Gundy back in the day at Oklahoma State, and you still see it all the time. But you're running slot fades on 3rd and 1, 3rd and 2 at times. Vandy's not really going to do that, man. They're going to be simplistic, but multiple at the same time. So they got a lot of different guys and they can throw at you. And so it's going to be tough because Vandy's going to try to set themselves up to be in 3rd and medium, 3rd and short, or, at worst. And so that's definitely a big challenge for this defense. But if you do, and you are successful, like in Alabama, like in Missouri was on 1st and 2nd downs for a lot of that game, you stick them behind the chains, 3rd and 7, 3rd and 6 longer, so it's a lot different offense.
Hey, Connor, I've got some breaking news, if that's okay with you.
Sure, go ahead. Max
Wright, 2026 offensive tackle commit out of Melissa, Texas, is taking a visit to SMU today. He's one of the 2 offensive tackles committed to the class of 2026. He's got a ton of upside, 6'7.5", 6'8", about 320, 325. He has been close to SMU. He's just taking in the game today with Miami. He told me Texas is holding steady, but he's watching the Kyle Flood situation. So he will be at SMU Miami this morning. Also, just from our boy Evan Veith down on the field at Inside Texas, it looks like Cole Hudson is warming up at left guard with the first team, while Connor Robertson is getting the first team reps at center. I really like that little tidbit, to be honest with you, because I think Cole is just as versatile in the guard spots as he's the center. He may be even more valuable because he's more athletic, maybe not as what Connor has to deal with. And so 2 little updates for our guys. There's even more updates, as a matter of fact, in the game thread at InsideTexas.com. JL, Joey Austin, the rest of you guys, come see us.
They are. Of course, these goobers would be fans of that garbage Rogan comedy. I'm actually not. I think the scene's gotten pretty hack. But what I do like is my friends that do stand-up that predate all the guys moving there have had more opportunities. So that part's been nice. But I think the jokes are getting a little repetitive, and that whole scene is kind of coalesced around the same jokes. So I'd like a little bit more originality there. But I do like my friends that do stand-up to have more opportunities in that regard. They're not really part of that scene, but it's boosted the overall opportunities for them.
Shout out to our guy, Keenan.
Shout out, Keenan. Capitalize on rare mistakes, and they are rare. So they're 4th in fumbles per game. Probably not going to get a fumble. They're 4th in tackles for loss allowed. Probably not going to get a lot of tackles for loss. We don't necessarily hit that a ton, but they are 74th in interceptions per game. But it's still, their average is 0.9. So not even a full interception per game, and they don't pass a ton. But if you do get the opportunities, you gotta take them. But overall, pretty sound offense.
What was interesting about the PFF grades? They did a best and worst look at Vanderbilt this week via the PFF, and sometimes those grades are, they're so subjective, but you can glean a few things from them. They had 2 offensive linemen, the center and the guard, that tested above, that had a grade above a 65. which is pretty average. You want it a little bit higher, but it's not necessarily terrible. After that, it falls off the chart. And they run a specific thing, and I know how they can actually interchange their tackles and field side bounce. Like they're very adaptable in that regard, and that might affect some of their grades. But the two things that really stood out to me talking about the Texas defense, I think Texas can get pressure on this O-line. I think they can cause havoc. You know what they did last year? They did the exact same thing last year. Vanderbilt scored on the first drive and on the last drive. And on the first drive, Jalen Gilbo forgot to set the edge. In between, they didn't move the ball. So I think Texas D-line can actually be an add value here a little bit more than what we were discussing. I think there's a weakness there in Vandy's O-line that Texas could potentially take advantage of. The other mark that was surprising to me is the tackling grades for Vanderbilt were terribly low, considering how efficient and how good they are in that regard. So, but talking about our defense, I think the O-line, I think Texas can get that push on those guys.
Yeah, they're not world beaters. Like the scheme does everything to help them and give them an edge.
It's fit that personnel ideally, which I give credit to Clark Lee for.
Yeah, and they even switch guards and tackles, strong versus quick, because apparently calling them the weak side, that would be too disrespectful. So we have to go with the quick side. But that's
call it the boundary. Who cares?
Yeah. Well, we can't be weak at Vanderbilt. They're the Commodores, man. They're tough.
Yeah. Yeah. Wait till Jay Cutler comes running out of that closet.
But that's the big thing is, look, they're not world beaters on offensive line, but they know that, and they try to solve for that. So the best thing you can do is try to, how do you turn Pavia into a pocket passer? You get them way behind the sticks. And then you hope they run out of a bag of tricks, because they're the first 3 quarters, they're going to have a hell of plays for you. But eventually you can run through those. And we do have the athlete advantage at edge. They're just too aware of that. So we'll have to see. And finally, hold them to a low score. We saw it versus Missouri. I watched the Missouri All-22 first, so it gave me a kind of an off view of Vanderbilt, because I was like, this is what everybody's talking about. They play better versus like LSU, even Bama with a loss, but hold them to a low score. You don't want them particularly to run up score ahead of you with low possessions. So if you can keep them in that 10,
not this team, not in 2025 in Austin, buddy.
Yeah. So you want them to be at that 10-17, and then the offense has to do their job. Of course, they have to be able to outscore them to win, guys. That's how we do it.
Homer, we have a question down here from Ryan.
Cord, Homer, are you worried about early down success rate for Vandy? Vandy content with just taking 3 to 4 gains because they're great on third down, similar to Kentucky taking easy throws? Yeah, I mean, the whole thing is like, on film study, I'm sure you saw it, they get this tight end leak for like 40 yards. They do a ton of misdirection for Pavia to throw like a 7-yard pass. It's a lot of flash, functional flash. They can run things off of that flash, but they do a lot just to make it a clear, easy, short throw for Pavia. And that's their whole point, is like, we're going to get 4, we're going to get 4, we're going to convert. We're going to get 4, we're going to get 4, we're going to convert. Next time we're going to run for 80 because you got out of your gap.
Yep. I mean, well said there. Definitely one of the biggest worries for me in this game. I think both teams honestly moved the football pretty well between the 30s in this one. And then so Texas Vandy, who really stands up there inside the red zone, inside the 30-yard line, and gets those third down stops and forces some field goals. And so I think both teams will be pretty well prepared for this one. I'm expecting Texas to have a pretty good plan on the offensive side of the ball. But I know Vandy's going to do their thing over there, and they're going to make it difficult, and they're probably going to have a pretty high number of converted third downs. It's just hopefully Texas stands up at the right time and makes the stops when they need to.
Well,
you know who else likes that tight end leak?
Sark. Yeah.
You know who else loves that tight end leak?
Who?
Joe Cook.
Hey.
Jim Harbaugh. So you can see that bear out in the numbers, right? In passing success rate, moving the ball forward, they're 4th in the country. In passing explosivity, they're 85th. And their deep passing is 90% one-on-one auto throw fades, and they don't complete them well. But once every few, once a quarter, you're going to man up a wide receiver, and then Pavia is just going to throw it. They don't really care about completing it. They're just trying to back you off of them because they do need the space for Pavia to throw those short things. So once you do start crowding them, they get uncomfortable there because that's not what they want. And then they'll throw the auto fade that they normally don't complete on just to tell you, hey, we will throw it. So that's a big factor. Quentin, not worried about anything. We are the better team.
I like his confidence.
Dude, I like Quentin in the trenches in the foxhole. Like, I want Quentin next to me because he's just giving me confidence no matter what, I'm down.
I agree. He's bringing it today. You know what Quentin isn't? He isn't mid.
No, he's not. He brings.
He's the anti-mid.
He's the guy. He's first off the bus.
He's the antidote. Don't you open up the window.
There you go. But they are, when we're talking about early downs EPA, they are 4th in the country. So they're executing on 1st and 2nd down. That's why they're good on 3rd down. All it means is that they're in advantageous situations a lot. So that'll be the key. How do you break that? I think you do crowd them. Now, don't get me wrong. Cheryl can make some plays at wide receiver. Trey Richardson for them. I believe that's the name. Fast player. So they do have some explosiveness in the past.
Stowers actually kind of can give you that, I think, more so than the other ones.
So Stowers is a really unique athlete. He's dangerous in the pass game. He's a good contested catch guy. He'll go up and get it. They'll also just sit him down. He's a big body. He can get it. And he'll block for you too. They have some other tight ends that are just more pure blockers, but Cole Spence, also same thing. He'll block 90% of the time, and then they'll leak him out, and he'll get 40 yards on you. So you have to be really locked in, whether you're a safety or whoever's on him, that if you're tight end, that's not a read key. If he goes to block, they're trying to make you think that's a read to go, now I can go do my job somewhere else. Nope, they're going to leak him. So the tight ends are very, very important.
Connor, you're exactly right. This is a great point. How valuable they are at tight end. And with Michael Taff out, how important that's going to be for a Jelani McDonald, and which we know what he brings, but an Xavier Filsaime, who didn't have a good first half in Starkville, had a better second half in Starkville. And then also with guys like Derek Williams, whose reps are increasing as well. That's going to really test those guys, I feel like.
Yeah.
No, that's well said. I think that, they've got a nice little mix at tight end between the better athlete and Stowers, a guy that can be the chain mover, and a guy like Cole Spence who does such a good job blocking that, you can provide a false key like you can for him, set him up to block and leak out. He's got a huge catch radius, 6'7", and he's moved the chains with some pretty nice catches in the last couple of weeks for them.
Yeah. All right, guys, before we keep going, let's hear a word from Academy.
Any gate can be a tailgate.
Hey, real quick, one of the recruits that's in the house today, his father, Antonio Cromartie.
Oh, cool.
Just got some pictures in from the sideline recruits. He, I think it's known he's got like 14 or 15 kids. He does have a few young guys in the Houston College Station, Blinn area, maybe a little bit. Where there are a couple prospects, so he's on campus right now. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, that ain't bad genetics, that's for sure.
No, not at all.
Who else do we have on campus, Justin? Any ones a note?
Yes, Teray Davis is on his official visit. That's the big safety out of Colorado. They're battling USC for his services. They need another safety in this cycle. That guy could easily fit that spot. And this is my standard time to say I wish they would push more for Donovan Webb. Webb was a huge Texas lean for a minute. He looks like a freaking beast at Frisco right now. I digress. And then linebacker, who I really think Texas has a good shot at flipping over the next few weeks, Karon Maycock. He's out of Miami Central. He's committed to Florida State. He's got some of that Maurice Blackwell, Jonathan Cunningham twitch athleticism to him. Plus, I never turned down a Dade County athlete. I know better than that. And so those two right now are on official visit. That's substantial. The number one wide receiver in the country for the class of 2027, Easton Royal out of New Orleans. He's on campus. Yeah, he's an LSU lean. But Texas and Ole Miss are throwing some real game at him. He's in, and he's excited about that. There's a whole other list at InsideTexas.com. We updated it yesterday. Come see us. Let us earn your business.
Arch and Pavia passing stats are very similar. Arch passes Pavia and passing stats today.
They're identical.
Yeah, you sent me that graphic.
Identical running, yards, completion percentage, turnovers. He's the Heisman candidate, and Arch has the same numbers.
Yeah. Yeah, one-hit wonder Pavia, never heard from again, moves to Alaska cabin. No shot. He's going to be out in the media, man. This guy has really played the media card incredibly well over there. I think the difference is like Arch is so like without Arch, this team doesn't do anything on offense, but like Pavia was like legitimately transformational of Vanderbilt. If you could give like the MVP, if the Heisman stood for truly like who is the most valuable player to their team, it's Pavia.
He's the MVP. He's the real MVP.
Yeah. And so it's like that's why I have to see Clark Lee without him. The difference is one wants attention, the other avoids it. Yeah, well, one had attention his whole life and is like, I'm good. The other one was like, you know,
it's
out in New Mexico trying. So it's like they also have very different backgrounds on why they would like attention and why they wouldn't. Media has Manning fatigue, built him a castle for season, already have torn it down. Yep. One thing about American culture is like we will lift you up to the heights. And then as soon as you get on that pedestal, we're like, get the hell off of that. And we just tear it right back down. We do it with everyone. It does singers, athletes, it does not matter. As soon as we help you get to the heights and then we rip you right down. Clark Lee is 23 for 34, so we'll see. Yeah. And he's how he thinks about football is very interesting. Like if you watch interviews with him, he's always like referencing like an ancient philosopher and trying to relate that to football. So he does have a new one. Homer has a new hoodie.
What's interesting? Go ahead.
I was gonna say, Grandma hooks it up, man. I got like 50 of these. I get them every Christmas, and so I just rotate them. Just add one, throw the other one in the laundry.
There you go.
I've had this since high school.
That's called efficiency.
Yeah, I don't buy Texas stuff because I just get it for Christmas, and I'm like, all right, we're all good.
I don't buy Texas stuff either, but I better shut up.
I'll go to the Walmart to get whenever I have to get like a Texas shirt, just like a plain one. I'm like, dude, give me the cheapest shirt possible.
I like it when they come in the mail.
Yeah,
and you're not expecting them. That's my favorite.
Christmas time for me. All right, penalties per. So this is some of the overall team stuff that's interesting. So they're 92nd in penalties per game. Now, some of this is because Pavia forces holds on his offensive line all the time because he's erratic. So he'll run this way and change directions. That's not on the offensive line. He's constantly breaking their leverage and making them hold. So you'll see that. Defense is overly aggressive. Guys, they go to the edge and then they cross over it. Yeah. So that's a factor when you have aggressive players. So they're 92nd in penalties per game. Unfortunately, Texas still does not have the edge there. Texas is 124th in the country in penalties per game. So you could see a very sketchy one where there's penalties on both sides. They are 14th in luck rating, though, so the ball bounces their way. You'll generally see that with good teams. They put themselves in situations to be lucky. Texas is 62nd. What is interesting to me is their turnover margin is not as good as I would think it would be. They're 55th in the country. So they throw the occasional pick, and then something has to be going on defensively there for them as well. But Texas is 16th in the country in turnover margin. That's what's kept us in games is even when the offense stalls, Arch doesn't go weird and start throwing picks. So that's a big, big factor. Texas third in field position. That's a huge factor. They are 14th, though. So very similar in those regards. They have good field position, and both of us have a bunch of penalties. They're 21st in special teams. Texas is third. Niblet, we need you again, baby.
Nah, he's not getting. They're not kicking to him, baby. There's no way, right? Do people continue to kick to Ryan Niblet?
Yes, they will. I think they should. I think that's luck.
They should. Yeah, he's gotten lucky. They should still kick it to him. The luck rating is like they determine that basically fumbles over time do average out to 50%. So who recovers is considered luck. You can argue that, but overall, if you look at all the fumbles, they even out. That's luck. Batted balls, tipped interceptions, these kind of things that aren't necessarily true skill. Those are in the luck factor. So whenever the ball gets in a 50-50 situation, do they win more than 50%? And they're a team that does that at 14th best.
Hey, do you want some more breaking news?
Yeah, I want all the
Connor,
breaking
I don't know. I'm just making sure.
Dude, I love breaking news, man.
Texas is hosting high 4-star edge Baylor commit out of Temple, Texas, Jamarian Carlton today.
Ooh, he
is
went
in
away.
the house. He is in the house at DKR. If you were at InsideTexas.com, you already knew that.
Having a little jam with your brunch.
Is he at Temple?
Temple, Texas. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I remember he was in the mix earlier in the year, and then
it came down to Texas and Baylor, and I think Texas Tech and Baylor and Tech threw like crazy NIL numbers at him, and Texas kind of was like, we'll kind of we're going to let the market recorrect before they dive back into that one. He's been solid to Baylor. If you know that recruitment, there's a lot of connections and ties to Baylor and to Carlton and his family. But it's substantial because Allen Clark, they want another edge in this cycle. They love there's Jamarian Carlton just hitting me up right now. They love Dre Quinn out of Atlanta. He's kind of, the former Clemson commit. He's, a lot of people think he's going to stay in state with Georgia, but there's a few people in the mix around the bend that think this kid might be Texas bound. He needs to get on campus in the next few weeks, but they need another edge. If they can flip Jamarian Carlton, they would right now.
Yeah. Yeah. I honestly forgot about him after that while, but that's good news. 162 horns watching. Let's hit the like button. And everyone on Twitter that's watching, I think we have 929 across platforms. On all the platforms, guys, give it a retweet, give it a like, whatever you're on. Share
tell
it with
a friend to tell a friend.
Tell a friend to tell a friend. So I think we talked through. Chat, do you guys think we're missing any major factors for the game or anything you guys are curious about?
Connor, I don't know if we're missing anything. We've been talking about this stuff for 7 days, man.
Yeah. It doesn't stop. Luckily, we get a bye week. So that part's going to be nice. But any players or factors you guys think that we skipped out on, you let us know.
I do have one slightly not super obscure prediction, but Texas blocks another kick today. I think we see special teams make a little bit of a difference in that manner. Would love for it to be a punt, set up this offense for maybe a really, really short field, or hell, just get in the end zone yourself off the block kick. But that's my one random prediction that we see today. We'll block one more.
I want to see, if we go punt block, because what do you do with Niblet at that point? And how do you truly kick away from a punter? Like, I know we say that.
You kick it so far in one angle to the other that it's either going to go out of bounds or you don't pin a guy, but you use the field and you use the sideline as kind of a wedge in a corner. Mm-hmm. Only the best punters can do this, but there's a way to punt away from those guys without just punting it out of bounds. But you got to be really highly skilled to do that, like Michael Dixon level stuff.
You have to be skilled, and it's like he still has this. He's going to get to it to field it if he chooses, and so it's like limiting punt returners is harder than we think because they're generally. He's going to be able to field it and get the ball. But also asking Niblet to return these levels of punts every game are just statistically quite improbable. But he's proved me wrong every week after that. But we'll see. They also – it's weird what they do with Niblet because they, try to get him, game reps. But they always do, some unique package for him, and it just doesn't work.
Everybody knows it's coming.
Do you know why a lot of times it doesn't work? Because I think Niblet has a big dose of Deshaun Jameson. And what I mean by that is everyone envisioned Deshaun Jameson doing all these things because of his speed and quickness on offense. But what they didn't realize is that it was a straight line speed. It wasn't something cut back type of ability like Yak in space type deal. Ryan Niblet is the exact same way.
It's track speed.
It's track speed. Now, I'm not saying he can't make moves and things of that sort, but that's why he looks kind of uncomfortable when he's running things in the offense. Not to mention the kid's played wide receiver, both spots in the wide receiver, X and H. He's played running back. He's been on the defensive side for a bit, playing some nickel. He's been a little bit of everywhere. But I get kind of a Niblet Deshaun Jameson vibe because we remember thinking, man, Deshaun, he's got to get some reps on offense because a jet sweep, something like that, would be very advantageous. And then you learn he's not really that kind of guy running in the offense. It's not really comfortable for him rather than just returning kicks and seeing one seam and going. These guys don't want to read lanes. They want to catch it and they want to go. Yeah,
they want to be on the track. All right, guys. Any final thoughts before we head out of here? YouTube TV and Disney, y'all need to chill out and y'all need to figure it out.
Thank
Disney's
goodness I'm not on
so
YouTube
diabolical. They're literally like, give YouTube TV a price that they literally can't afford to pay. Get everyone mad at YouTube TV, and then today post on Twitter, "Hey everyone, you can come over to the new ESPN app to do."
Have you seen how all the ESPN employees are copy pasting the same thing?
Exactly. And I went to film school, and you remember that South Park where they're like, "Don't mess with the mouse," talking about Disney.
Yeah,
Disney is the most brutal media corporation in existence. Like there's like legendary stories about running up against their lawyers. They are brutal, and they play these games, and it's so funny for them to be like considered a children's television and movies. They are tough to deal with, so they put YouTube TV in a bind, and YouTube TV is going to have to pay up. And I have ESPN and YouTube TV, but it's like work expense, but not a lot of fun.
Not fun when you have to download this to do that. But I know why Disney's doing this.
Yeah.
You know why? They have lost so much money in motion pictures over the last 5-6 years, like a lot of money. So they are grasping for any sort of revenue, more revenue, because apparently when Walt Disney died, they forgot how to make a picture.
Their streaming platforms have been bleeding money too. And so it's like just overall their media is not in a good space. Industry wide media is not in a great
space. It's because it's funny. It's everybody wants to stream and all that kind of stuff. Their own stream, so they can cut out the middleman, get all the ad revenue, all that stuff. What they don't understand is, what's going to happen? Somebody's going to find a system and put all these streams into one thing.
And it's cable.
20 years ago, we called that cable TV.
Yeah, and I said
it was a brilliant idea.
10 years ago with Netflix, all you see is fragmentation with a disruptive technology, and it'll end in consolidation. So you're 100% right. Some guy's going to go, there's a lot of streaming services here, and people don't want to pay. What if we make a streaming service with all the streaming, and now you're
brilliant.
Yeah, brilliant.
And listen, I tried to copyright it. I'm trying to get the patent on that, but apparently cable television nailed that 40 years ago.
Yep.
I'm a cable guy, and I just subscribe to the couple that I don't, the services that I don't get. But maybe it costs a little bit extra. I don't know. But at the end of the day, I know exactly where I'm going to be watching my games every Saturday, Sunday, Monday, wherever it may be.
That's what, Connor, that's what I was talking about with Cord. That's what I was talking about. We got to get him on here more. The guy's full of info, and he's got a smile, and he's got a beard that's much better than what I'm trying to do and much better than what you're trying to do.
Oh, dude, I got a smile and a beard too, man.
No, I know, but
he's my hero. I'm just copying him every week.
Yours looks like a shaggy beast.
Yeah, mine was just, I go with like mountain man.
Trim it.
I go mountain man chic, dude. And my fashion choices are Chandler's chic. Adam Sandler is my fashion icon. And then whoever lives out in the woods is my beard icon at the moment. All right, guys, let's get this dub. We will be right back on as soon as the clock strikes 0.
Nick Saban just picked Texas to beat Vanderbilt.
Hey, who knows more about football than
Desmond Howard picked Vanderbilt. Who knows less about football?
Desmond Howard is not a Texas guy. All right, guys, we appreciate you. This was the pregame show, and it was brought to you by Academy Sports and Outdoors. Hook 'em.